Well, hello again and welcome to my tutorial on turnarounds, connecting the verses. Turnarounds, for the most part, are used to connect the ending of the first verse to the beginning of the second verse, and a form of them can certainly be used for other situations as well. Without the turnaround, the time between the first and the second verse of your music would just block forward motion and grind to a halt. If I were to use Georgia on My Mind as an example, it'll come in near the end of the first verse leading into the second verse, and I think you'll see my point. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Georgia. Not that great, certainly lacks forward motion, that's for sure. I suppose I could drop a bar out, but then the balance of the song would be a little off with just a 7-bar sentence when it should be an 8-bar sentence. Let's look at a way of creating your own turnaround, especially if you don't like what's written on the sheet music. Now for this example, I'll be using a 4/4 time signature in the key of C over 2 bars using 2 chord changes per bar. Like most 8-bar sentences, I've determined that the first verse really ends at the beginning of bar 7 on the tonic chord for 2 beats. This leaves beats 3 and 4 of bar 7 and the 4 beats of bar 8 leading to the beginning of the second verse, which also starts on the tonic chord. Now at this point, it's not surprising, like many things in music, you tend to work backwards. Well, let's take a look at my example. Most likely I'd be looking for a dominant chord, such as a G7, the 5 of C. I now set up my 5 chord, the G7, on the 3rd beat of bar 8. I know that the 5 with its tritones will push me across over to bar 9 to the tonic 1 chord of verse 2. Still working backwards, what would set up the 5 chord? Most likely the subdominant chord, such as the 2, the D minor, or the 4, F. Either one of these chords will take me to a dominant 5 G7. So either the D minor or the F is placed on the first beat of bar 8. I've only written these chords as triads. Now depending on the sophistication of the song, they can certainly be bumped up to a 4 or even a 5-note chord. D minor 7, D minor 9 for the 2 chord, or F major 7, F major 9 for the 4 chord. Still working backwards, I move to bar 7. What would set up the subdominant chords, the 2 or the 4 chord? Good choice would be an A minor 7, since that would be a primary 4 move up to the D minor or a primary down 3 to the F, which will set up either the D minor, the F chord, which in turn will set up the dominant chord, the G7, and across the bar line to bar 9. Of course, the first beat of bar 7 is a no-brainer since it is the tonic chord of the last verse. The 4-chord sequence that I've discussed represents the framework of hundreds of songs, including that song When Kids See a Piano, invariably they start playing, what else? Heart and Soul. If, on the other hand, Heart and Soul is to be played more aggressively in perhaps a swing fashion, the turnaround might very well end up, well, let's take a look. Through the use of tonicization, I've changed the A minor to an A7, which would be the 5 of 2. And when I got to the 2 chord, I've now changed the D minor to a D7, making that a 5 of 5 and pushing into the 5 chord. So it's very strong push 5 on 5 on 5 across the bar line. A lot of energy. And this is what it would sound like. came in. Five of two, five of five to five. Now you'll notice that I was only talking about the choice of harmony to consideration. There is, of course, a lot more to it than that. What about the melody? What about bass consideration? What about voicing considerations? Is it going to be simple or a little more complex? Is a song to be a simple child's tune or something more involved like a Duke Ellington or Billy Strayhorn composition? Getting back to Georgia, what would be an appropriate turnaround? Well, let's look at one turnaround that is used most often, and of course other possibilities. And again, coming into the end of the first verse and going into the second verse, let's pick it up. So what did I do there? Well, I came in with a 5-on-5, to my E flat 9 augmented 11. It's going to drop down to the root of the 6th chord, becoming a D9, up to a G9, 5 of 5, to the 5th chord, C9, plus, using that note as the leading tone to the first note of the second verse. I might have considered ending on the substitute for the 1 chord, the 3 chord, and come up with something like this. Two, 5, pass a contrapuntal 7th to the root of the 3 chord, flat 3, A flat 9, onto the 2 chord, G minor 9, to 5, flatten the 9, raise the 5th, and into the second verse. I could end on the 1 chord, well, here's my 1 chord, to the flat 3, flat 13, to the 2 chord, G minor 9, down chromatically to the G flat, the flat 2 of 1, and onto the rest on, and then coming in. Even something as 1 to a blues 5, down a whole tone, down a whole tone, and drop onto the tonic chord. There are hundreds, literally hundreds of different possibilities that you can use in a turnaround. Think of that song, Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World, coming into the end of the first verse. Could be used as an introduction. Well, I guess that should do it for now. If you got through it with me, give yourself a pat on the back. Don't forget to subscribe. So until next time, thanks for joining me. Bye for now.